Okay, we're going to talk about when we have any changes in your acid-base chemistry, where it will ultimately lead to disturbances in your system. So let's talk about acid-base chemistry a little bit more. And when you think about when we consider something being a disturbance to any of your acid-base chemistry, some disturbances can be such as if we have a lot of vomiting, say for example we have some kind of stomach flu, or say for example some kind of stomach bug where we cause diarrhea, or even diabetes can actually disturb the pH of our blood. Breathing disorders such as emphysema or pneumonia or any kind of brainstem trauma can actually cause a disturbance in your acid-base chemistry. Your kidney function failing, or if you have congestive heart failure, can cause a problem. And even changes in altitude can actually cause a disturbance in the pH of your blood. Or even an excess use of diuretics, maybe too much of a loss of water can actually end up, or retaining of water can actually change your acid-base chemistry. So keep in mind when we have a disturbance, such as acidosis, alkalosis, this is where we have an extreme position of acid-base chemistry. So if my blood pH falls way below 7.35, we can consider it acidosis. If my blood pH becomes too high above 7.45, that's referred to as being alkalosis. So keep that in mind when you think about terms acidosis versus alkalosis. So there are there are four scenarios that we can describe as acid-base disturbances. You have respiratory acidosis, respiratory alkalosis, metabolic acidosis, and metabolic alkalosis. So you can kind of guarantee when you look at respiratory acidosis, alkalosis, this means I can tweak my acid-base chemistry based on my respiratory system. And when you think about metabolic acidosis versus metabolic alkalosis, we can actually tweak our acid-base chemistry based on different chemical reactions. So let's take a look at all four categories of acid-base disturbances. Now the first one is respiratory acidosis. And when you think about this, this is the most common acid-base disturbance that we have just by changing our breathing rates and making our situation more acidic. And what happens with respiratory acidosis is I'm going to have a lack of getting rid of carbon dioxide by my respiratory system. So what ends up happening is I have a lot more carbon dioxide in my blood, typically greater than 45 millimeters of mercury, as we had learned back when we talked about respiratory disorders in the chapter 23 part of your textbook. So if I have an accumulation of carbon dioxide in my blood, guess what's going to happen? More carbon dioxide in my blood will actually give more hydrogen ions in my blood. That means I'm going to get my blood more acidic. So when I actually end up having this accumulation of carbon dioxide, I'm going to make my blood more acidic. So this is called respiratory acidosis because I'm actually not being able to get rid of my carbon dioxide by breathing. So oftentimes infants tend to be more susceptible to respiratory acidosis because their lungs are simply just too small or poorly developed, and they end up having not the ability to get rid of the carbon dioxide as more efficiently as say our adults, so they tend to have more acidic blood as a result. So this could be an example of respiratory acidosis where I just simply can't get rid of my carbon dioxide. If I block my airway, that can actually cause a buildup of carbon dioxide in my bloodstream, and therefore I will end up getting more acidic conditions as well. So when you think about respiratory acidosis, this is a leading cause of hypoventilation. When you don't breathe as well, or you have a lack of breathing, or say I have my air supply cut off, then I end up having this acidic situation where I can't get rid of my carbon dioxide, so therefore my pH becomes acidic. So a lot of situations can happen as a result of this respiratory acidosis. My blood pressure can drop because I'm vasodilating, trying to get rid of the carbon dioxide as a way. I end up might be because of my low breathing or my lack of breathing, I'm going to end up having drowsiness or maybe become disoriented. I might end up coming and having more headaches. And so there's a lot of reasons why I might hypoventilate, but ultimately I'm going to become acidic as a result of my lack of breathing. So let's talk about respiratory alkalosis. Again, this is where my pH of my blood becomes greater than 7.45 and becoming more basic. And so when you think about respiratory alkalosis, this is where my carbon dioxide actually drops below 35 millimeters of mercury when I'm actually breathing. So when I have low carbon dioxide or a decrease of carbon dioxide being breathed out, I might end up lowering my hydrogen ion concentration as well. So, which is a really good thing. When I can actually get rid of my carbon dioxide out of my bloodstream, I can also end up lowering my hydrogen ion concentration. So, or excuse me, lowering how much hydrogen is in my blood. So then I end up increasing the pH of my blood. So let's talk about that. So here are some examples of respiratory alkalosis. So say, for example, I start hyperventilating or I start breathing more. And this could be out of fear, anxiety, a lot of different reasons. Or say, for example, I'm hooked up to a ventilator. So I'm actually increasing my breathing that way. But say I increase my breathing a little too much. So ultimately what happens when I breathe out too much, I'm actually getting rid of a lot of my carbon dioxide. Great thing getting rid of my carbon dioxide, but guess what? I got to be very careful because if I get rid of too much carbon dioxide, like say greater than 35 millimeters of mercury, then I ultimately will end up increasing my pH. As you can see right here, I'm going to use my laser pointer. I'm going to increase my pH greater than 7.45 as a result. So what happens if I get too basic, greater than 7.45, I might end up dropping my blood pressure, or I might end up becoming tachycardic, where I end up increasing my blood pressure too high, where I end up causing some cardiac arrhythmias. So you got to be very careful with having my pH become too high. The other thing too, if I end up hyperventilating too much, I might become nauseated or I might become lethargic as a result. So you got to be very careful when I'm talking about respiratory alkalosis. If you have seizures, you can actually make your blood a little too basic as well. Just because I'm getting rid of so much carbon dioxide, I'm ultimately increasing my pH. Now, another condition is what we refer to as metabolic acidosis, and this is caused by a loss of carbonate. And if I lose too much carbonate, I'm going to end up gaining a lot of hydrogen ions, making my situation more acidic. Because keep in mind, if I lose too much bicarbonate, I'm actually no longer having this buffer to buffer out my acidic conditions. So if I lose too much bicarbonate, I'm going to end up getting an increase in hydrogen ions. So I'm going to end up becoming more acidic. And so that's a big problem too. So let's talk about metabolic acidosis. So some possible causes of metabolic acidosis is if we have a huge production of metabolic acids. And this could be as a result of being diabetic. If we end up becoming diabetic, we could become where we have an excess of ketones in our bloodstream as a result of diabetes, where I could actually end up changing my pH of my blood as a result of that. So we call that ketoacidosis. Or I might lead to having a buildup of lactic acid from anaerobic respiration. So if that happens, that can also make my blood pH become more acidic. So if I end up having a lot of difficulty getting rid of my hydrogen ions, I end up becoming more acidic as well. So say, for example, if I have kidney dysfunction where I can't get rid of my excess hydrogen ions, that can also make myself more acidic. So even if I have severe diarrhea where I end up getting rid of my bicarbonate, if I end up getting rid of my bicarbonate, then I end up making my situation more acidic as well. So a lot of different scenarios can make myself acidotic or considered metabolic acidosis. So what happens with metabolic acidosis? So if I end up having a lot of diarrhea where I'm getting rid of my bicarbonate or dropping my bicarbonate, my pH will drop and make it more acidic as well too. If my kidneys can't or if my kidneys end up not being able to maintain my bicarbonate levels, then I can also drop my pH level as well to make it more acidic. So those are all examples of metabolic acidosis. And ultimately what happens is that I end up can cause a lot of problems to my body if I become more acidic, or I end up causing a lot of mental confusion, a lot of drowsiness, or I can end up changing my blood pressure as a result of having a drop in my pH. Now, our last condition is metabolic alkalosis, and that's where I end up having higher levels of bicarbonate in my bloodstream and increased levels of bicarbonate. Or I could have another situation where I have a huge loss of hydrogen ions or a huge gain in bicarbonate levels in my bloodstream. So a lot of different reasons there. Some possible causes are the most common is that, say, for example, I'm vomiting. I'm vomiting up all this acid, so I end up having a huge spike in my pH or a huge increase in my pH because I'm getting rid of all my bad hydrogen ions as a result of vomiting. So this huge loss of hydrogen ions can actually help be my gain in my pH. So even too, if you have ever had a lot of antacids such as Tums, that is a basic situation. So if I have a huge spike of antacids, that will also drop a lot of my hydrogen ions and increase my pH to be more of a basic situation. So when you think about that, if you have excess vomiting, I'm getting rid of all those hydrogen ions, but I'm also increasing my bicarbonate. And if I increase my bicarbonate, I'm also increasing my pH. So I call this metabolic alkalosis. So keep in mind, vomiting will actually trigger our pH to become a lot higher because I'm getting rid of those excess hydrogen ions. Okay, that is the end of our four disturbances. So keep in mind, our four disturbances are, we have your respiratory alkalosis, respiratory acidosis, we have metabolic acidosis, as well as metabolic alkalosis. All have different scenarios that we have where we actually tweak our acid-base chemistry.